told to wait outside. The woman in the gray cardigan didn't argue. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't demand an explanation. She simply nodded, stepped to the side, and sat down quietly, just outside the velvet rope that separated first class from the rest of the terminal. No one around her knew what she was about to do. But by tomorrow, the airline would never be the same again. It was 6:42 a.m. at Denver International Airport, and the gate was already buzzing with the energy of early morning business travelers. Phones pinged, coffee cups steamed, and an announcement played overhead reminding passengers to keep their bags attended. Emma Wren Caldwell sat quietly near Gate 14B, a soft brown leather notebook open on her lap, a pen tucked between her fingers. She wore no makeup, her hair loosely pinned back. A soft, oatmeal-colored cardigan covered a plain navy blouse. To anyone walking past, she looked like someone's tired aunt heading home after a weekend visit. What no one saw was that this woman owned 18% of the very airline that just told her to wait outside. The incident had begun 11 minutes earlier. Emma had approached the gate with her boarding pass in hand. She had arrived early, chosen her seat online, and was flying first class. Seat 2A, confirmed. She stepped up to the gate agent's desk with quiet confidence, her ticket ready. The agent, a tall man with a slicked back hairstyle and a dismissive glance, barely looked at her before his expression changed. His eyes scanned her from top to bottom and settled into what Emma knew all too well. The look. Disbelief. Doubt. Disdain. "Ma'am, economy is boarding at gate 15C," he said, gesturing to a group lining up several feet away. Emma smiled politely. "Thank you, but I'm flying first class. This is my gate. Seat 2A. He took her boarding pass, scanned it again, and narrowed his eyes. Just a moment. Emma waited as he whispered something to the other agent at the desk, a young woman in red lipstick and designer heels who threw a quick glance at Emma and smirked. Then, without a word, the man handed back her boarding pass. "Please wait off to the side while we complete priority boarding," he said coolly. Emma's expression didn't change. She stepped aside without protest. She opened her notebook and began writing. 2 minutes passed, then 5, then 10. She watched other passengers board. People in tailored suits, glossy shoes, and pearl earrings walked past her without a second glance. No one questioned them. No one asked them to step aside. Then came the final insult. Another woman approached the gate, stylish, blonde, wearing a smart trench coat and sunglasses pushed to the top of her head. She held a boarding pass identical to Emma's. The agent lit up. "First class?" he asked with a cheerful smile. "Yes," the woman replied. "Right this way, Miss Jennings. Have a wonderful flight." Emma watched. No pause. No extra scanning. No whispered consultation. She stood, calmly approached the desk again. "Excuse me," she said, voice soft. "It's been 15 minutes. I'd like to board now." The gate agent didn't look up. The woman beside him rolled her eyes. "We're finalizing boarding for premium guests. Please remain seated," she said sharply. "I am a premium guest," Emma replied, her voice like glass, quiet, but with an edge that could cut. The man sighed and finally looked up. "Ma'am, we'll have to verify your information. Please wait outside the boarding area." And with that, the rope was lifted, and Emma Wren Caldwell, owner of a significant portion of Skyglide Airways, was told to wait outside. But what they didn't know was this. Emma was no ordinary passenger. She wasn't just another face in the crowd. She was on that flight not by accident, but by design. 24 hours earlier, Emma sat in her corner office on the 38th floor of Caldwell Global Holdings in downtown Boston. Her view overlooked the Charles River, but her eyes were on the screen in front of her. A spreadsheet blinked with red marks. Declining satisfaction, plummeting loyalty, rising complaints. Skyglide Airways, the regional airline in which her investment firm had a major stake, was failing where it once excelled, customer experience. And not because of prices, not even because of delays. It was the attitude, the service, the tone. Emma had noticed the shift months ago and warned the board of directors. She'd suggested hiring mystery passengers to test the service quality. They agreed, half-heartedly. But Emma had another idea. She would be the first passenger, quietly, anonymously. No fanfare, no name recognition. No one would know who she was. No one would know what was at stake. Until it was too late. Back at gate 14B. Emma didn't argue. She didn't shout. She waited, but she wrote. Line after line. Observation after observation. Her fingers moved fast, recording every word spoken, every tone used, every look cast in her direction. Then, with a quiet calm, she pulled out her phone and typed a message to her assistant. Document everything. Reschedule shareholder meeting for tomorrow morning. Emergency presentation. Tell legal to prep section 6.3. Emma stood slowly and made her way to the economy boarding line. Her boarding pass now marked for row 25. Seat B. Middle seat. No window. No dignity. She took it anyway. As she settled in between two sleeping strangers, she opened her notebook and wrote one final line before the flight took off. They judged the wrong woman. Tomorrow, they'll learn who I really am. Tomorrow belongs to her. The moment the wheels touched down in Boston, Emma Caldwell's quiet game ended. As the plane rolled to a stop at Logan International, passengers all around her stretched and prepared to deboard. Emma remained seated, calm, focused, while the man to her left checked his smartwatch and the woman to her right popped in a stick of gum. Emma reopened her notebook. She didn't just document her journey. She calculated a takedown. She stood only when the seatbelt sign dimmed and followed the slow shuffle of economy passengers off the plane. Vanessa, the very flight attendant who had smirked while Emma was sent to the back, stood at the cabin door. "Thank you for flying with us," Vanessa said with professional blandness. Emma offered a pleasant nod. Nothing more. Not yet. By the time she exited the terminal, her driver was already waiting. Black Tesla. Tinted windows. The moment the doors shut, Emma spoke. "Richard?" "Yes, Ms. Caldwell," her assistant answered through the Bluetooth link. "Move the meeting to 8:45 a.m. I want everyone assembled by 8:30. Legal, PR, finance. Get me the full personnel list for Atlantic Star's gate team at Denver, especially the gate supervisor and first-class agents. I want names, employee records, complaint histories. Also," she paused, a faint smile pulling at the corners of her lips. "Tell PR to clear space in tomorrow's media cycle." Richard's voice didn't miss a beat. "Local or national? Start local. This story will go national on its own." As the Tesla glided toward downtown Boston, Emma opened her laptop. By the time the car pulled up to the high-rise that housed Caldwell Global Holdings, she had already filed 3 formal requests to the airline's internal review committee and copied senior shareholders. Inside her private office, Emma swapped the soft cardigan for a fitted navy blazer. Her assistant greeted her at the door with 2 folders. The full Atlantic Star gate crew log. "And this," Richard handed over a tablet. "It's a viral video posted just 2 hours ago. Someone recorded you being denied at the gate." Emma frowned, surprised. She pressed play. There it was. Grainy footage, but clear enough to capture the moment she was pulled aside, questioned, and finally told to wait outside. The comments were already rolling in. "This is what classism looks like. She had a first-class ticket, and STIL got sidelined. Wow, judging people based on sweaters now. Pathetic. I hope she owns that airline and burns it to the ground." Emma chuckled softly. They're going to get their wish. 8:30 a.m. the next morning. Caldwell Global Holdings. Executive Conference Room. The room was filled with quiet intensity. Legal documents lay open. Laptops blinked with data. Screens displayed graphs, emails, charts, and highlighted sections of internal policy. Emma sat at the head of the table, her expression unreadable. "Walk me through it," she said. Jane, her lead counsel, took the floor. "Our strongest weapon is the ethics clause you insisted on when acquiring equity. Section 6.3 gives you the right to invoke emergency board action in cases of repeated unethical conduct that directly impacts consumer welfare and brand integrity." Emma nodded. "The footage, the employee statements, the customer complaints. It all counts." Jane nodded. "And it's not just discrimination. It's fraud. You paid for first-class service and were denied it without legitimate cause." "Add it to the formal action," Emma instructed. Sarah, her senior analyst, clicked to the next slide on the screen. Public perception is already shifting. That viral video crossed 220,000 views overnight. The hashtags are trending. Hashtag not just a seat and hashtag judged be sweeter. "Good," Emma said. "Let's give them more to talk about." 10:00 a.m. Atlantic Star Headquarters, Boston. The boardroom was sleek, all glass and steel, with panoramic views of the city skyline. A long mahogany table stretched across the room. 12 chairs were occupied by board members. 2 remained empty, one for Harrison Ewell, the CEO, the other for Emma. She arrived not in designer brands, but in the same cardigan and slacks she wore the day before. It wasn't pettiness. It was symbolism. She was making a point. Conversations ceased the moment she entered. Heads turned. Mouths tightened. Some recognized her face from the viral video. Others were still clueless. But no one dared dismiss her now. Emma took her seat slowly, setting her leather notebook gently on the table. The CEO cleared his throat. "Miss Caldwell, we weren't expecting a personal visit. Your team normally handles shareholder matters." "I thought it would be helpful," she replied, "given that I was just forcibly downgraded by our airline yesterday." Despite holding a confirmed first-class ticket, a murmur ran through the room. "I trust everyone saw the footage," she added, "or would you prefer I play it again?" "No need," said one board member, looking uncomfortable. Emma opened her notebook. "Good, because I've prepared something else." The lights dimmed. On the screen behind her, graphs, screenshots, and reports flickered to life. In the last 8 months, customer satisfaction has fallen by 36%, retention dropped by 24%, and first-class bookings down nearly 18%. Our biggest loss is not competition, it's credibility. Another slide. A series of customer complaints, emails from angry passengers, comments posted on Skyglide's social media channels. Emma didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Each of these entries includes complaints that people were treated differently based on how they looked. No violations of policy, no behavior issues, just clothing, skin tone, age, weight, assumptions. The silence in the room deepened. She clicked again. Now came the internal memo. "From your VP of Customer Experience," Emma said, locking eyes with the executive at the far end, directly instructing crew to be mindful of optics and to protect the image of first class. The woman paled. That memo was leaked. Emma finished for her and verified. "And soon will be public." The CEO leaned forward. "Miss Caldwell, surely you're not planning to." "I am," Emma said. "This company let 2 gate agents humiliate a shareholder, a woman, a paying customer, because I wore a cardigan and didn't look like someone worth respecting." She paused, letting that land. "And that is going to cost someone their job." 11:45 a.m. The vote. Emma didn't just speak, she acted. Legal documents were signed. Votes were cast. Diana, the VP of Customer Experience, was removed. The gate agents from Denver were placed under formal review and suspended. The board approved a complete internal audit of customer interactions, with Emma's team assigned to oversee it. But Emma wasn't done. On launching a new initiative, she said as the meeting ended, a 12-week intensive retraining program for all Skyglide employees. Top down. From CEOs to baggage handlers, every single one will undergo a course called Service with Integrity. Who's designing it? Someone asked. Emma smiled. I am. Later that afternoon, the headlines exploded. Investor who was told to wait outside just took over the airline's policy board. CEO backpedals as viral video forces emergency shakeup. Emma Caldwell. From passenger to powerhouse in 24 hours. The flight of redemption. 3 days after she was told to wait outside, Emma Caldwell stood quietly at the terminal gate of Skyglide Airways, this time not as an undercover passenger, but as the newly appointed chair of customer integrity and policy reform. No cardigan today. She wore a crisp ivory blouse tucked into tailored navy slacks. Her presence didn't scream for attention, yet everyone noticed. She had arrived not as a protester, not even as a billionaire, but as the woman who had held a mirror to an entire airline and forced it to face itself. The terminal looked different now. New signage had been installed across all Skyglide gates nationwide. Every passenger deserves respect. Discrimination is not just unwelcome, it's actionable. Gate agents had been retrained. Leadership had been reshuffled. And customer feedback, both from regular flyers and the national press, was now at an all-time high. Emma didn't smile in celebration. She smiled in recognition. Because this wasn't about a victory. This was about correcting something that should have never been broken in the first place. 24 hours earlier, National Press Conference, Boston. Cameras flashed. Microphones crowded the podium. The headlines had already set the stage. Emma Caldwell turns airline scandal into revolution. From silence to spotlight, woman humiliated at gate now holds executive power. Emma stood in front of reporters, flanked by Skyglide's CEO and 2 newly appointed diversity and ethics officers. I didn't ask for this attention, Emma began. I didn't plan to be recorded. I wasn't even angry, at first. I was disappointed, because what happened to me has happened to countless others. The only difference, I had power to do something about it. She paused, scanning the sea of cameras. But power means nothing if it's not used to protect the powerless. This company didn't fail because of one employee. It failed because it allowed a culture of assumptions to thrive, where respect had a dress code and dignity was conditional. A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. And so, Emma continued, Skyglide isn't just changing logos or issuing apologies. We're rewriting the DNA of this airline. She unveiled the full initiative. Mandatory empathy and ethics training for every employee. A compensation fund for passengers wrongfully downgraded or mistreated. Public transparency reports released quarterly. A new anonymous reporting system with a zero retaliation guarantee. Most importantly, we're elevating people not based on what they wear, but who they are. Back to present day. Logan International Airport. Emma's flight was about to board. Not just any flight, Flight 782 to San Diego, the same route where she'd first been humiliated, but this time with something new. A soft chime rang over the terminal speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, boarding will begin shortly for Flight 782. Today's flight is dedicated to the values of dignity, integrity, and inclusion, and we'd like to welcome a very special passenger on board. Emma blinked in surprise. A gate agent approached her, not with suspicion, but with reverence. Miss Caldwell, the woman said with a proud smile, would you do us the honor of being the first to board today? Emma chuckled. Thank you. But are you sure that won't make people uncomfortable? The gate agent shook her head. You're the reason this line exists the way it does now. Everyone deserves to see the face of change. Emma nodded and stepped forward. No velvet rope. No smirking agents. No questions about her outfit. Just the open path to first class, and the knowledge that no one would be told to wait outside today. Inside the aircraft, as she settled into seat 2A, her rightful place, the flight attendant approached. This one was new. Young, warm, confident. She knelt slightly beside Emma's seat, hands folded. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said. "We've all been retrained under your program." The first module was called The Woman at the Gate. That was you, wasn't it? Emma smiled gently. Yes. The flight attendant's eyes welled slightly. "My mom's a cleaner. Single mom. She's been treated like she's invisible her whole life. But you didn't just speak up. You rewrote the rules." Emma reached into her bag and pulled out her old notebook, the same one she used on the day she was told to wait outside. She flipped to the first page. "How people treat you when they think you're powerless reveals who they truly are." She handed the notebook to the attendant. "Would you like to keep this?" The woman gasped. "Are you sure?" Emma smiled. "That story's already been written. It's time someone else writes the next one." Meanwhile, in economy class, down the aisle, a familiar face was placing a carry-on in the overhead bin. The blonde flight attendant from before, Vanessa, now wore a different uniform, a badge reading trainee. Her posture was different now, subdued, thoughtful. She moved through the cabin with none of the arrogance she once displayed. The demotion hadn't been punishment, it had been Emma's condition. If she agrees to start over, not be fired, and go through the same training, I'll support her second chance. Vanessa had taken that deal. And now, for the first time in years, she was learning how to serve, not control. As she moved past first class and locked eyes with Emma, her expression shifted. Apology, regret, humility. She gave a small, respectful nod. Emma nodded back. It wasn't forgiveness. It was acknowledgement. And that mattered just as much. Later that evening, national broadcast. A popular primetime talk show host held up the now famous video of Emma at the gate. "This," he said, "is not just a viral clip. It's a masterclass in silent power." This woman didn't yell, didn't throw a tantrum. She waited, she watched, and the next day, she ran the show. The audience applauded. "She's a reminder," he continued, "that real wealth doesn't always wear gold. And real power, it doesn't need to announce itself." 1 week later, final scene. Emma stood at a charity event hosted by Skyglide's new foundation for equal opportunity in aviation. She didn't speak from a stage this time. She stood beside the people the airline once ignored. Nurses, janitors, school teachers, war veterans, disabled passengers. She shook hands, she listened. She funded scholarships. And when a young girl in a wheelchair asked her, "Miss Emma, why didn't you just tell them who you were that day?" Emma bent down and whispered, "Because I already knew who I was. I wanted to know who they were."